I grew up on a river and played in the mud a lot and built forts and thought I wanted to be an architect, and was very turned off by the building industry as a teenager, watching a lot of farmland being developed. From there, I got into activism and housing rights work, and from there I was looking more for solutions, and started learning about permaculture, and that led me to doing a one-week workshop with Yanto Evans and Janine Bjornson. And so I took a one-week workshop, and it was clear to me, very clear, that this was part of my path, and that this was going to be part of my work in the world. And that's how I got into natural building. And there were dreams that guided me along the way, and so yeah, it was a week in the mud and there was no turning back. Empty the Shelters. So I was working with a group called Empty the Shelters in Philadelphia in the early 90s, and a number of us who were working together, we were very much working against a lot of the housing laws. And there was a point when we were sitting at a table together, and I said to folks, I asked, what's your vision? You know, if things were in the world as you wanted them, or in Philadelphia as you wanted them, what does it look like to you? And there was, no one said anything. No one had sort of a vision beyond what we were working against. And in that moment, it was very clear to me, because I had a lot of visions of what I wanted to create. And part of that was more of a whole system sort of permaculture vision, whether it be a city or out in a rural area. So that was a catalyzing moment for me. It shifted me into looking more for solution-oriented work. Later, when I got into natural building, it became very clear to me that natural building serves as a way of gelling community and inspiring people and bringing people together. And within the natural building community, it's very much not just about building. In fact, I would say natural building is more about communities connecting with each other, with themselves, individuals going deeper into their connection with the earth. And it helps us as we ask questions about what we're doing, you know, what each of us is doing with our lives. Something about working with the earth and building together in simplicity, and I think the way it connects us through time, through our human memory, through many ages, it's tapping into something much deeper that helps to facilitate a much larger questioning and transformation, and for individuals as well as for whole communities of people. So it's the transformative power of natural building that really drew me on a holistic level. What happens for people when they get in the mud. From there, I was in Thailand with a friend who does seed saving, and was on a little fishing boat, and the man behind me I thought was pretty interesting. I'd overheard him speaking with his friend, and so we struck up a conversation, and within 10 minutes he shared with me he was the director of one of Southeast Asia's kind of most established activist training centers near Bangkok, and I shared what I was doing, and he invited me to come teach in Thailand. So I met Prachad, who was at the time the director of Long Sanit Ashram, which does grassroots leadership trainings and is networked with other NGOs throughout Thailand and Southeast Asia. And so the invitation came to teach in Thailand, and we didn't know what the results would be or who would be interested. About a year later, went back and to teach, and we did a 10-day workshop, and there were hundreds of people got turned on. Just for that workshop alone, there were about 125 people who wanted to come. So, and the media jumped on it and got all over it, and there were some folks videotaping and documenting the work, and it went on from there, and it just took off big time. And so once we started doing international work, and people heard that this was what we were up to, we were getting invited to countries throughout Southeast Asia and elsewhere, and that took Clayworks into more an international direction. And one thing to me that's beautiful about natural building is that you don't have to speak the same language as the people you're working with, because the language is more about the body and the mud and the materials. When I first worked in Thailand, I was working with people many of whom we didn't speak the same language, and it was so much fun, and they were so into it, so energetic, and I had never before worked with people who so smoothly just flowed together. There was not much organization had to happen, not much talking and planning, it just happened. And I think working with people who are connected to a village-based culture where there's a sense of cooperation and doing things together regularly, that just filtered through everything we did there. And I learned so much more about building, because they're very innovative and very fast learners, very creative, but even more so about just the spirit of cooperation and having a really good time on a site, and how that lubricates the entire process. My experience working in Thailand was really transformative for me personally, and it took our work in just a whole new direction, and recognizing the larger power of what we were working with, that people, farmers and villagers who had always had within their villages the resources to take care of themselves and their families were beginning to depend on the dollar, or the baht in this case. And this is fairly new for villages in Thailand. 30 years ago, people didn't really use a cash-based economy. It was barter-based, and they had what they needed, and they were laughing and playing music and joking around, and had a lot of time to just live and work and be together and enjoy life. So when we started working in Thailand, working with groups like the Assembly of the Poor and other organizations that were helping villagers get out of debt, because they were working with cash, which was new to them, and getting way into debt. So getting out of debt and learning again how to be self-reliant, when they had the option to build with earth and create long-standing homes that would, serve them well, and not have to get in debt using concrete, knowing that on a broad scale really meant something significant, was really special. Yeah. Mm-hmm.